It didn't take much more than a bottle and 2 chairs to make a speakeasy. This is what Daniel Okrent said in his book, Last Call, The Rise and Fall of Prohibition. Today, join us for some stories. Get your own bottle, glass, or mug, and relax. This is Speak Easily, and I'm your host, Krista Stauffer.
But the man taught 2 hours to my students about self-taping and auditioning, and it's like, really, the only connection we have is that we both once went to Otterbein Theater. But that's what this weird family's like. It's great.
That's a good description of Otterbein. Otterbein University, a weird family. I'll take that. That's okay.
That's going to be on brochures next year.
I really think we've hit upon something here. This is very good.
I mean, who needs a mission statement when you've got that?
You know, when you're that honest, I don't know, you might attract some people with that. It's like, oh, I need a weird family. So
well, there is something about this place that I'm sure you know, that is, we sort of take people as they are, right? There is not a cookie cutter sort of, you have to be this way to be at Otterbein. It is all types, and that's, I think, a strength.
Absolutely. Sorry, coffee.
Okay, I've got to get used to the I speak and then I see myself speak 2 seconds later thing. I'm still getting used to that, but that's all right.
You know, it's such a weird environment. We're very excited for this to be done so that it's not staring at a screen, you know?
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out like,
Yeah.
oh, you're there, but you're there, but you're there, but you're there. And I don't know which one to look at. So it's, yeah.
I think it would be an interesting study, and I'm sure someone's done this, like on Zoom or whatever, how much time people spend looking at the other person and how much they spend looking at their video of themselves and being like, is that what my hair really looks like? And what, you know, like, I bet people spend more time looking at themselves.
I think they do. It's when I teach private lessons over Zoom now. So I've said, okay, I'm going to shut off my camera because I know that I don't want them looking at me and I want them to focus. And one student was like, I need you on because otherwise I'm just not paying any attention to anything but myself. So I need something else there. It's very odd.
That's probably wise.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have been at Otterbein for, has it been 2 years? Year and a half?
I am a rising junior. And so I just crossed the two year mark. I may get to graduate someday. I don't know. It's going to take a while though.
Yeah, that's okay. You can take your time. It's fine.
Well, so far so good.
Yeah.
I had such a good time at college that, honest to God, someone said to me, you can get paid to stay in college for the rest of your life. And I was like, shut up. How do you do that? And so here we are. I'm still in college.
Academia, yes.
Yeah.
I know, seriously, it's awesome. The only problem is I keep getting older and the students keep getting, younger. It is just,
Yeah.
I remember being shocked when they were born in 1990 and now they're born in 2002. Or I mean, like, it's just painful, right?
Yeah.
Every year they cross, it's like, oh my God. I mean,
Yeah.
I could be their parent, and it's just depressing.
Ben and I we are on our milestone over the hill year. So
I'm already over the hill. You're about to be
I've got
over the hill.
8 days, 9 days.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
You've got to do something crazy in the next 8 days. Go skydiving or do something to declare that. No?
Hard to wear a mask while skydiving, I imagine. So.
Actually, I think it would be easier.
Maybe.
Well, the outward scream is going to push the mask away.
Yeah.
So I think it would balance the.
Yeah, I could see
I'm also deathly afraid of heights, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
I'm going to bet you're naturally socially distanced when you're skydiving, I would think.
That's true.
That's what I did for my 21st birthday, is I took a bunch of friends and we went skydiving because I thought,
cool.
I mean, every idiot goes out to a bar when they turn 21. Let's do something more interesting than that. And so we all went skydiving. It was great. I haven't done it since, but it was great.
Would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, it was fun.
And you're not afraid? No height fear?
I guess not especially. It was in a little prop plane where you went up 3 at a time. And so we had to do multiple trips to get everybody through.
Right.
And they had a strut underneath the wing that literally you leaned out and put your hands on 2 red things. And then they pushed your butt out the plane and you held on like Superman, sort of flying along in the air until they said, let go. And then you just let go and sort of fell backwards. It was ridiculous, but it was great.
That sounds cool.
I struggled at the Grand Canyon. Like my husband kept, hey, take my picture. I'm like, I'm going to murder you when you die in the Grand Canyon. Like, yeah.
So you didn't do the
did
walk
he, like,
out on the thing? No? No.
No.
Have you done
See,
that?
good.
The glass.
I haven't done that.
Uh,
I haven't been. I was out there once when I was, on some family trip as a teenager, but I haven't been back there since they built that fanciness. It was just a big hole in the ground when I was there.
It hasn't changed that much, but
Yeah.
I mean,
It's still a big hole.
yes.
That's good.
Yeah. There was actually somebody had listed people's reviews on Yelp of national parks. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
Where people have given it like 1 star. It's just a hole in the ground. Like Yosemite is just a big rock.
Yeah, it's just a big rock. Yeah.
It's water falling over a cliff at Niagara
Right.
Falls.
Yeah,
Who
big
cares?
deal.
I mean,
Yes.
this
Do
is
something
whatever.
cool. Yeah.
The Sequoia National Forest.
Yeah.
Too many trees. Lots
Too
of
many
bugs.
trees.
Yeah.
That's right. Blocking my view. It's
Can't
ridiculous.
see anything.
So my parents were both professors, and so they had their summers free, and they would throw us in the car, and we would camp in national parks for
Nice.
like a month every summer. And I hated it as a kid. I hated it. It was terrible.
Oh,
And so what do I do to my kids now? We, like a few years ago, rented an RV and went and did the
Okay.
national parks out west. This is like you've got to introduce your kids to national parks. It's a rule.
Yeah.
yes. Did you camp or did you RV camp?
So I RV camped with our kids.
That's good.
My parents, when I was a kid, we tent camped.
Yeah.
But there was no way my wife was tent camping. Nor frankly would I. I
Yeah.
shouldn't throw her under the bus like that. Like RV camping, I mean, you got a shower, you got a queen size bed. It's pretty posh for camping. It's fine.
Yeah.
You should try that. I grew up in Denver, so we camped. I mean, that was part of growing up. And I loved it then, but my dad was a Boy Scout and he grew up in the mountains and he knew what to do. And
I think if you live in Colorado, you're
It's
obliged to camp. I think that's like,
however,
yeah.
and you've met my mother. Mom
Yes.
taught at Otterbein in the music department for several years.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah, much before your time. But I found out in adulthood, she despised camping. She hated every trip we went on.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, well, you did a really good job of hiding it, Mom. Congratulations. But yeah, it was the same
The
thing.
truth finally comes out. Yes. It is. Occasionally you'll get some story from your childhood and you bring it up that whatever happened, and your parents have this totally different memory and different perception. Like, you remember what? That didn't happen, and that's not what that was about, and that person never said that. So I'm convinced all of our childhood memories are just constructions, to talk to therapists about or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Did your parents know at the time that you didn't like camping? Like,
I'll be honest, I was a difficult, especially teenager. And so it wasn't the camping, it was the fact I was stuck with my family, which I love my family very much. It was just that teenager want to be independent phase. And so it was just, as opposed to being with my friends over the summer, I was stuck in the back of a conversion van driving for thousands of miles to whatever national park. And I just didn't want to do that.
right. And there wasn't technology then. So you had probably books. And I was
I had a Walkman.
Oh, you had a
It was very fancy, and I would cruise for radio stations in the back.
Yeah.
And if you're out west, good luck in certain parts of the trip. There's
Yeah.
not. And I did have a tape that I would play over and over and over. And may I just brag and say I had Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling.
Nice.
It was
Nice.
amazing.
Yeah.
And so great album.
So now every time you start a road trip, pop in
That's-
the Lionel Richie
Yeah.
and just jam. Yeah.
Did you have?
Well, how do you? I was not that. I got to that in college, where you could get a CD and you could tape songs a certain order, and I did that for a couple of girlfriends in the very cheeseball. I think everyone had to do that for their girlfriends, and back when that was a thing.
Yep.
But not before that. I wasn't that. I didn't have the 2 tape deck boombox that would have been required.
Because I did it off the radio. You would hear the announcer say like, and coming up next, REO's Speedwagon, Can't Fight This Feeling. So I just sit there like, okay, it's coming. 2 more commercials, it's coming. Yeah, and just tape the song from the radio.
See, what I would do is I would actually play the DJ and I would actually talk into a microphone and be like, all right, up next, we've got Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling. And I'd start the thing.
You're
And
such a nerd.
I know. And now this
But then the
is my career.
the DJ would talk over the beginning or the end of the song and ruin
Yeah.
the recording. I tried this too. It just never
Yeah.
quite worked out.
Yeah.
It never did. Yeah. But
Yeah.
Our kids today have no idea of the struggle.
no.
I mean, just you can say, Alexa, play this song, and just magically
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It just goes. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys have an Alexa? Have you done that?
Oh, we have Alexas like in almost every room, and we
Really?
do. we do announcements, come down to dinner. I listen to music when I'm cleaning up. I mean, like, yeah, we're
the
all
lights
about
and everything hooked up to Alexa.
No, we're not quite that fancy, but
Yeah.
I'm sort of a geek too. So I do the daily briefing at NPR so I can get my news. I play Jeopardy on it. You know, it's good.
Nice.
I'm sure that Jeff Bezos is listening into our conversation,
Yeah.
but we are boring people, and so I don't really care. That's fine. Whatever, you can listen in.
Picture him in his massive office sitting there listening to your conversations, your Jeopardy games, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and he listens
Yeah.
to my podcast, I'm sure. So he'll hear it.
I'm sure. Well, and our personal FBI agent is watching anything anyway, so just don't do anything interesting, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be good.
Right now.
Where did you go to college? Like your undergrad?
So I went to Western Illinois University.
Is that where you're from, is Illinois?
Yeah, my parents taught at Eastern Illinois.
Okay.
And so I got probably a deal like you got, that my parents taught at one state school. And so I got free tuition to a set of other state schools.
Okay.
And so I didn't even really look around that much. I just knew I wasn't going where my parents taught because, as we've already established, I wanted to get out of Dodge. And so I got to they taught at Eastern. I went to the other side of the state to Western.
There you go. This is a random question. Get out of Dodge. Is that an actual place? Is it Dodge, Kansas? Does that sound right?
I don't know if it's Kansas. I know it's like I associate it with Westerns and the bad guys are coming. You better get out of Dodge. I think Kansas is right.
Yeah, Dodge City, something. I can't remember exactly what it is. I'm sure there's somebody listening right now going, "It's this, you idiot!" But there was a Western town, and like the whole idea of get out of Dodge was you better get out of Dodge.
I feel like Oklahoma or Kansas.
Yeah.
And that was when we did road trips as a kid. We would save our best book for Kansas. Because that's the longest.
It's a long,
beautiful state.
No.
Yes.
Sorry, Kansians.
There's not much past Lawrence. I got my doctorate at Lawrence. And then there's a whole bunch of nothing. In the middle of there's Russell, Kansas, home of Bob Dole. There's big signs. And then I know you get to the end of Kansas and you're in Colorado, and usually where you're going is Colorado, right?
Yeah.
And so you're like, yay, we're in Colorado. It's just 3 more hours of Kansas before you see a mountain. It's Colorado's border. You haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That was a long trip. Very long.
Earlier this year, I drove to Iowa, and it was shockingly boring to get out to Iowa. And I haven't driven farther west, but I need to do that.
You should.
Yeah.
So how did you end up at Otterbein?
So I was always aware of Otterbein and its great reputation.
Yeah.
And they had a headhunter looking for a new president. So I got a phone call. I was president at my last place. And I think if you're a president who is doing a decent job and hasn't been fired, they're always looking for the next thing for you. And honestly, it was as much about the family as anything, that we wanted to be in a place that had, great schools and lots of activities. And frankly, you look at Westerville, Ohio, and you think, okay, what's not to love about this? It is a safe, quaint, suburban, quiet, peaceful village, as we say at Otterbein, right?
It's going to be in my head all day.
Right, exactly. And then we're 5-10 minutes from Polaris, 10 minutes from Easton. I mean, I never thought I'd live within 10 minutes of a cheesecake factory, much less 2. And so, holy cow, you can really do anything you want here.
Yeah. Now, how many places because you have 2 kids, 3 kids?
3 kids.
3 kids. Okay. And how many places have they lived throughout life?
So they were all born in Missouri. I worked for 8 years at Westminster College in Missouri, where Winston Churchill gave the Iron Curtain address. So if you would like to talk Winston Churchill, I happen to have become an expert as a result of working there. He has all sorts of great quotes. So he's very quotable. It can be good. Then 5 years as president of Blackburn College in Illinois, and then now I'm on the beginning of year 3 here. And so they've made a couple of moves, but I had to swear on a stack of Bibles when we moved here that we would not move again until the kids were all out of the house. And so I'm here for quite a while. Yeah. No pressure. I have to keep this job because no one's moving again.
Nope. So don't get fired.
I'm trying, doing the best I can.
How is it? being the president during a pandemic, you know?
It's really boring. There's not really anything going on. No, I'm just kidding. You have to reinvent everything that you do. And we're not alone in that. It's most every business is like that. But everything from the way the dining hall works to how many students can you have in a class to how you're delivering those classes to residence halls. And so everything we do, it has to be different. And then add to that the guidance changes every week. Mm-hmm. And that's nobody's fault. I mean, the situation keeps changing. And so the health department or whoever has given us new guidance, then we have to adapt. And in the meantime, you've got students worried about this and faculty members worried about that and parents worried about this other thing. And then you have to figure out how to pay the bills because all this costs money and is affecting enrollment and everything else. And so it's a challenging time, but we're lucky to have great people here and we're hanging together so far.
Yeah. You probably have had plan A and then that switches and then plan B and then that switches. And is it still like that? When are you guys supposed to start students coming in?
So we're supposed to start move-in on the 15th and then classes start on the 24th. And so you have some orientation and things like that. We're phasing in move-in, so you don't want a big move-in day where everyone shows up all at once, right? That would be bad. So you got to phase in move-in days over a while. And so I don't know what plan we're on at this point, 17.4. I don't know. And as I keep saying, most of our plans will probably never actually happen. But you got to keep up with it and you got to have contingencies and you got to have best case and worst case and everything else under the sun. And so it's an interesting time. On the other hand, I won't lie, there's something that's a little fun about it because universities are not known for making decisions quickly, right? We're very slow, plodding, methodical places. We do more in a week than we typically do in a year. I mean, just the number of decisions and accomplishments, and you end your day tired, but we got some stuff done today. Yeah. And that's all right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How was it during the super fun day in March when everything was starting to shut down? How stressful was that?
Well, it was stressful, especially because Otterbein was under a cyber attack at the same time. And so God. We were in the middle of that when the governor called all the presidents and said, we'd like you to go to remote classes. And so we were literally trying to reestablish our networks and email at the same time we're trying to get to remote classes. And so I think it was the two biggest crises of my career in the same week, on the same day. And so I don't think anyone did much sleeping and we all made it through it. And I'm really proud that actually, despite all that, we were online with our classes faster than a lot of schools because our faculty and our students adapted quickly and we made it happen.
And the bourbon was amazing, right?
That was a little while later, but occasionally when you get home, you do need a little beverage and that's okay.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I see you've got a big glass of something already this morning. The lid on it, we can't be sure what's in there.
It's rum. Big old thing of rum.
Just straight
rum.
Wow.
From Speedway.
An appropriate morning drink, I would think. Tequila is more of an evening thing.
I feel like you need to switch to different stuff as the day, since I'm teaching children today. It should go fine. No.
It's the amber liquid.
You found your ways to manage. That's all right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They are kids after all. So what is what's your favorite place or thing on campus right now? I mean, not right now because nobody's there, but yeah.
So, okay, I'll give you a right now.
Okay.
Because, in March, we sent everybody home to remote classes and then campus has been largely empty since then.
Yeah.
The grass is growing where the sidewalks meet. Those corners where everyone usually cuts the corner and steps on the grass where there's usually just dirt there, there's suddenly grass appearing, which is actually depressing because I'm like, that means there haven't been people walking here for too long. And so we really need to get back to trotting on the corners of the sidewalks.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of cool spaces around here. I sort of get a kick out of walking now into the Reich because seeing the Reich converted for the presidential debate into a really unrecognizable space and then standing in it now as a basketball arena and going, oh yeah, none of this was here. And it was it just brings back that sort of transformation, that memory.
Yeah. How was the debate? Because you were right in smack in the middle of all of that. Did you?
Yeah. So that October was just craziness, but all in good ways. We were lucky to have CNN, right? CNN is in charge of the debate. They show up. They do this all the time. So they're like, okay, everybody, here's what we're doing. And they told us what to do, and they told, our security people what to, they just sort of knew they were professionals. And so it's not like we were having to make this all up from scratch. And it was just amazing to see, frankly, what money can do, because CNN comes in with 10 tractor trailers full of staging and rigging and totally transforms a building in 4 days. And then it's all gone in 24 hours after that.
Yeah.
And we didn't have enough dressing rooms. So CNN, that's fine. We had 12 candidates. It was the biggest debate ever in the history of the country, 12 candidates on stage. We didn't have enough dressing rooms. So CNN says, that's fine. We'll just go get 12 matching RVs. And that way they all have matching dressing rooms. Like, boom, done. And just what they could pull off was wild. But it was very cool to be in the middle of that moment and to have, they were very nice, and they gave me and my wife, I guess, as the host, front row seats and whatever. And so hey, there's Joe Biden and there's Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren, and this is happening. This is real.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How did they, I should know this, but how did they select Otterbein? What was the decision behind that? Did you
this is sort of
like Otterbein, hey, you win.
No, it's funny. So we got an obscure phone call, actually from another network first, because the networks bid for the right to broadcast.
Okay.
Saying that they had a political event they needed to host. Could they look at our facilities? And I remember I had a staff member who mentioned this and said, and we looked at the calendar, and it looks like we have a home volleyball game, so we're not sure this is going to work out. And I said, and what are the dates? And they said, October 15th, whatever it was. And I said, it's got to be a debate.
Yeah.
Volleyball can delay their game. Call them back. Let's see if we can pull this off. And so they came. They never said the word debate. They came with a group of 30 people from CNN.
Okay.
Lighting designers and producers and all these people that do this. And they looked at all of our facilities, and we had lunch with them all. And again, at that point, it was sort of obvious, because they said, we need 10 equal-sized dressing rooms. Well, okay, what could this possibly be then that requires 10 exactly equal dressing rooms, right? So it was sort of obvious what it was, but they never mentioned anything specific until we had a confidentiality agreement. And then we didn't announce the debate until 4 weeks before it happened. It all happened very quickly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The coolest part was our students got to participate in making all this happen. And so our communication students were all working with CNN, and Wolf Blitzer is there giving all of our students advice.
Oh, wow.
Our students delivered gift baskets to all the candidates and got to meet them. And you'll appreciate this. The coolest thing I saw was the day before the debate, CNN needed to sort of get the lighting right and the blocking and the timing right. And so they needed stand-ins for the candidates. And so naturally, our theater students were the stand-ins for the candidates. So you had a student there with a sign around their neck that said Cory Booker or whoever they were supposed to be. And they're behind the podium. And then to get the timing right, you had the hosts there, but they couldn't use the real questions because they're supposed to be secret. And so they would say to one of our students, so Senator Warren, you've come out very strongly against tattoos, and Senator Sanders thinks tattoos are wonderful. Justify your positions. And then our theater students would have to riff about tattoos for 90 seconds or whatever. They were told to interrupt each other and whatever, all about these sort of funny topics. It was hilarious to watch.
That's great.
God, I almost want to watch that more than the debate. To be honest,
it was really great.
Well, and this is why we do improv, right? You never know when you're going to need it. I saw a couple pictures from some of our alumni and TJ and posting about putting the lights up, and I mean, again, we're still this strong family, weird family community, but I did see pictures of the students up there, and they just look so proud. They're just standing so tall.
That's cool.
Even wearing a senator's name around your neck makes you feel good. And I gotta say, it's very cool, the staging that they do and the lighting, whatever. So to stand up there, I got to stand up on stage for a little while too, and whatever. And just being a part of it is just, it is the kind of thing that doesn't normally come to the Midwest, right? And this was the first ever presidential debate in Central Ohio, and it was at Otterbein. And how cool is that?
Yeah.
Did you get nervous at any point?
There were many points that I was nervous because there were lots of, just like anything else, unexpected sort of twists, right? Where, hey, we thought the candidates would enter through this door, but now they need to enter through this door. Or there was a thing about the candidates needed their own bathroom, and it needed to be very close to the stage, so that in the commercial break, they could use the bathroom and get back to the podium really quickly. And so was the bathroom going to fit through the door to get into the building? Because they needed to bring in a temporary restroom and these sorts of every little thing that had to go right for this thing to be pulled off. But again, CNN was totally cool and calm. And then I got 3 minutes to welcome the crowd. And they didn't broadcast my speech on CNN, but you saw me behind the commentators preparing. With the Towers Hall backdrop, and they did a nice job. And
that's cool.
I'm backstage and I'm talking to the chair of the Democratic Party. So I'm like, okay, so this is happening right now. And there were a few butterflies, but we made it through.
Did you get to meet any of the candidates?
So we let the students meet the candidates. I met some of the CNN personalities, the DNC folks, and got to see them all up close. But I didn't. At one point they said, "Well, do you want to deliver their stuff to their trailers?" And I said, "No, let students do that." And so I was close enough.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Do you ever get nervous about the speakings, or because you have to do a lot of public speaking, and does it make you nervous at all?
Not usually. I get most nervous. It's funny, the bigger the crowd, the more comfortable I am. I would rather talk to 300 people than talk to 10. It's just a different sort of, feeling. Anonymity is not the right word, but you're not as focused on individual faces and feedback and whatever. Right. And I get uncomfortable when I'm scripted. And so, for example, that introduction before the debate, CNN, it was 3 minutes. It had to be timed out. It was on a teleprompter. Like, it had to be very specific. And I'm much more comfortable. I sort of get up with an outline in mind, but then I just sort of go. And that's much more natural feeling. And I think I come off better than being scripted. And so that one being scripted was a little unnerving. And teleprompters, you'll be shocked. I don't usually get teleprompters. And so that was a different one, but it all worked. Yeah,
no, I totally get it, because we scripted out all the questions that we were going to talk about with you today on my script here. No, but I can see that this is we planned.
I was going to say this is very stiff as a result of yes.
It is. I think there maybe been 1 or 2 times that we've actually written things out. I don't know.
Maybe once or twice, but a lot of it's just kind of off the cuff. And we just chat with people. Yeah. So
I can't do the script. Well, yes, as an actor, that's a lie. Yeah. I can do the script thing. Yeah. I have to do the script thing sometimes, but not. I'm like you. I feel more comfortable in a big group, as opposed to looking at knowing certain people are out there and trying to be like, okay, am I delivering this to you or to you? I'd much rather it be.
At some point, I think the group turns into just sort of like amorphous mass of just it's a thing out there, So
that's right. Well, and I have learned here that I could never have been an actor, because we shot a video the other day for Return to Campus, and they know me at this point and say, just John, you get the gist of what we're trying to do. Just go talk. And so I had my 30-second introduction, but they wanted me to say this one line. And I could not remember it. It was like one sentence. And it was something like, I still don't know it. It's something like, safer together, staying together, finish strong. It was something like that, this phrase they wanted me to use. And I just could not remember it. And so they finally gave up and had someone else do that part of the video.
Okay, you're cut from the scene. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. We'll let you know.
Gracious. What did you initially major in? There's not a course on how to be the president of a college. What did you initially study?
So my undergraduate major was political science, and I thought I was headed to law school. And I still like politics. Part of the reason the debate was fun is it's just sort of fun to watch. It's my favorite sport.
Yeah.
And I may occasionally have a team that I'm rooting for, but I still want to watch a good game, and I'm interested in strategy. And I'm like one of those weirdos that likes watching the commercials and what are they, what's the angle here, and the debates are fun, and so I'm actually thrilled to be in a state where my vote actually matters. In Illinois, no one's competing for Illinois in the presidential, and so I voted, but I knew it didn't have any impact. In Ohio, especially in suburban Ohio, this is sort of what people are fighting for, and that's I think one of the reasons we got the debate was they wanted a suburban Ohio location, and a community like Westerville has traditionally been pretty conservative and Republican, but maybe shifting, and it's much more a swing area now. And so the Democrats wanted to put a stake in around here, and that was one of the goals.
Wow. That's crazy. So you like political science, and then how did you become a president of a university? Were you a VP of a university first, or secretary, or treasurer? How's? I don't know how your job works, John.
the club gets together, and no, I'm just kidding. No, I became a university president because I'm too dumb to say no. Mostly, I for whatever reason, whenever I was offered a promotion or a chance to try something new, I was always dumb enough to think, I can do that. Sure, yeah. I mean, it's just sort of some hubris or whatever in there. So I started in student affairs. As an undergrad, I was captain involvement. I was an RA. I was in student government. I was the student rep to the board. I did all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where someone said, hey, you're kind of good at this. You could do this for a living. And I was like, that's awesome. So I went to student affairs and I ran residence halls. So I was a hall director and a director of housing and assistant dean of students. And then I went and got my doctorate at Kansas. And I had never been at a liberal arts college. I'd always been at sort of public, larger institutions. And Westminster came up, and I got my dream job. I was dean of students at a small liberal arts college. I was Dean Wormer from Animal House. That was all I ever wanted to be. And I put everyone on double secret probation, and it was fantastic.
That's awesome. How was the horse? Did the horse come out okay?
Well, actually, there's a strong fraternity system there, and sneaking horses into things was not unheard of. And there, we had some shenanigans. And I did that for a while, and then the president there said, you'd be a pretty good president someday, so you need to learn fundraising. So he just made me the VP for advancement, which is, no one ever wants to be the VP of fundraising because people would run away from you in conversations. So they call it advancement so that it's more approachable, right? And so I did that, and then that led me to a presidency, because if you know something about raising money and something about the educational part of the institution, and I had taught courses and whatever, then you've got the right ingredients, and so here we are.
What is a normal? There's no normal. What's a day look like for you?
Yeah, there's no normal day. It is. I get paid mostly to go to meetings. It is not a lot of time sitting at your desk getting stuff done. Right. Unfortunately, you have to have some evenings and weekends and whatever to do some of that stuff and keep up with your email and whatever else. So it tends to be pretty highly scheduled. And what I like about it is so very different. So today I had a return to campus task force meeting at 8:30. Which was, we're talking about how to bring students back, and now we're talking about whether we do this in phases, and we're on, again, plan 18.7 now or whatever, and so that we did that for a little while. Then I ran over and we started training all of our new dining hall staff today, so we had 50 or 60 dining hall staff to go welcome. Most of them new to the campus community, so I want to tell them about how important their role is and how they're part of the community and whatever else. Then I shot a little video. The students love the Twitter. And so I do these little videos on Twitter about return to campus and what they can expect, and they all like that, and I ask questions on Twitter and whatever. So I did that. Now I'm with you. It's just something different every 5 minutes. And I don't know if I have ADHD or what, but I like that there's something different every 5 minutes. If I did the same thing all day long, I think I'd get very, very bored.
Agreed. I also like that you call it the Twitter.
Well, that's my old guy joke, right?
The Twitter.
I'm doing the Twitter thing. Yes.
Yeah. Do you like social media? Are you a fan?
So there are things I like and there are things I don't. I like the ability to communicate very directly with folks, especially our students.
Yeah.
Like email is so like last century to them. Like email, like who does email? It's like snail mail. So they're like, really? And so that's where they are. They're on social media. And so you get to communicate. And I feel like I have more especially student contact, and they can ask questions and I can answer them. What I don't like is it's not many people, but there are just some trolls out there in social media who, because it's a little more anonymous, and because they would never ever say these things to your face, because human beings shouldn't treat each other that way sometimes, but it does come out in social media. And so I'm lucky enough, I'm not a big enough, I don't have a big enough following or whatever to have many trolls, but occasionally you do get one of these really and it's just not necessary, and you wish you could see a little more kindness from people.
No, I agree. Well, after this podcast, I mean, your following is just going to be crazy, so be ready for that.
Well, I got on the Twitter and before I did this, and I found you on the Twitter, and I found that you haven't posted jack for like 2 years.
John, I don't
What is that? It was the worst Twitter account I've ever seen.
I don't like the Twitter. I don't like the Twitter. Nobody needs to know what is happening up here constantly. It's bad enough that I'm doing Facebook and I'm eating a mask. Sorry. This one's a little big.
So do you do the Facebook, or I can only keep up with so much. I can't Snapchat and do Instagram. I can only do one thing.
Yeah, she's got a good Facebook.
I play the Facebook. I sometimes do Instagram, just on occasion.
When I go, I should do some Instagram. Okay, I'll do an Instagram post. Yeah, then that's when I Instagram. But Twitter just I never connected 100% with it. And
it's so
my Twitter account is equally as unimpressive. So
I'll have to find you next.
Yeah, so you can knock him like you knocked the Twitter.
Seriously.
Yeah.
The thing, so I've never understood selfies. I know this is a big driver of social media.
Yeah.
The idea, if I'm somewhere interesting, that people want to see me in front of wherever why do people, that seems dumb to me. I've never understood selfies. And so I'm probably not totally adapted to the social media environment. It's all about selfies.
I think that they're really true. I wouldn't even say generational. It's almost like decade by decade seems to veer toward different social media aspects.
Yeah.
I tried Snapchat because I teach high school students. That worked for about 2 weeks before it drove me insane. And I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
I'm starting to feel that thing where it's like you start losing touch with the new things that are coming out, and it's like I don't know. I'm like, oh God, I can't be that old yet, right? I mean, but here we are.
Well, and we had Kenny, who went to Otterbein. Kenny played football at Otterbein. He was around the same year as me. He said, well, we're doing TikTok now. He's a professional comedian. He said, the way to go is TikTok. I said, I can't. My 12-year-old does TikTok. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants to see me dance, which is all I understand TikTok is. I was encouraged once to do Snapchat because apparently that's much more, at least a year or so ago, was a lot more hip and cool or whatever. And I thought, this is the thing where it deletes the messages after so many seconds. That can't be used for anything good. I don't want to be the dirty old man on Snapchat. Twitter's at least public and safe, I think.
Yeah.
So is this a challenge then? So if I start the Twitter, will you start the TikTok?
No. Challenge rejected. There's dancing and singing. There are limits to what I'm able to do here. And maybe I have honestly never even gone on TikTok. I'm told it's all Chinese spies anyway. And so I don't know what that's about. But all I know it's you're supposed to dance or something. So all right.
I think so. I don't know. I don't really want to spend time editing a video, quite frankly. So
I think that's part of it, though. Is I think, and this we all sound so old right now. I think
Yeah.
that's what this is, but it's like Vine.
When the kids these
Vine?
days. Vine?
Yeah, whereas like there were short form videos, like you had to keep it like less than 7 seconds, and like people would make these really amazing 7-second like little like joke films and stuff like that. I think it's sort of like that, where it's there's a time constraint and it's supposed to be
Should
short.
I know this?
It came out. It was a few years ago. It was.
Yeah, he's not making it up. This is real. Yeah, I remember
Vines are
something.
pretty
I didn't do it,
awful.
but there was something about that.
I'm
There
pretty
are some people
gullible,
that-
so he could say anything.
No, there are some people that got some serious, like, I don't know, notoriety from doing Vines. Like, there's
Okay.
some really funny comedians out there
Okay.
that got a good start doing Vines. So yeah, look up Vine compilations on YouTube. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
Let's come up with the idea of what it should be like, and in 5 years we could all be billionaires. Because I mean, I just look at these people that do this, and nothing but respect. Good for you. You had a good idea. You got it done. I don't have anything against you, but like, it is amazing to me how these people go from nothing to uber rich like that. And that way I could make all sorts of gifts to Otterbein. It would be great.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That wasn't my first thought with the money, but I mean, some of it, yes.
We need to talk. This is the goal. We want every grad to go become a millionaire and then give it back to us. Then that way we can fund the next generation. That's how the whole thing works.
You do know what I do for a living though, right?
I assume that your advertisers for this must be huge. I mean, this level of repartee has to bring in the people, I would think.
Huge. No, it's not actually. No. So what I have to ask, just because your career is so specific and interesting, what did you want to do when you were growing up?
I was going to be an astronaut. My 12-year-old self would be very disappointed in this.
Yeah.
Not to brag, but I am a 2-time space camp graduate.
I was a 1 time, so yeah.
Oh, were you? Fantastic.
Yes, I was, yes.
And I went right when, do you remember the campy 80s space camp movie?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I went right when that happened, and not to brag.
Yeah.
But I was a mission commander in the same simulator they used in the movie.
Nice.
Cheers to
So
you.
I got pretty close is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Then I figured out you needed perfect vision to be able to be a pilot or anything back in the day.
Yeah.
And I have LASIK now, but I have never had perfect vision. And so back in the day, wasn't going to happen. And also, turns out I'm much more of a social science than a natural science person. And so the amount of science required was probably not going to match up with how I was wired.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was the goal back then.
Yeah.
That was one of my first career choices as well, because the Challenger was huge, and my name is Krista, and Krista McAuliffe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not the ending we wanted for that, but then, all of the projects that I did were on Sally Ride and, different space ventures. And of course I'm scared of heights, so it wouldn't have gone well, but yeah. That was.
There's got to be a limit, though. Once you're in orbit, I mean, is that really even a height?
I think it's like talking in front of a crowd. At some point, it just becomes, you're so high up that it's like it's almost irrelevant anymore. That it's like,
you can't go down.
It's not high up anymore. You're far out. So.
Well, and you're floating. You're not going to fall. I mean, what's the risk at that point? I mean, there's tons of risks, but falling is probably not one of them.
Endless, terrifying risks.
Yeah, one or two.
Yes. You could die in a fireball, but that's not falling.
And I think that space camp might have deterred a lot of kids from wanting to be astronauts, because that movie was scary.
It was a good movie.
When
I
he
didn't watch it
got,
again.
So I have taken it on myself as a father to introduce my children to great 80s cinema.
Yes, we have
This is an important part of my role. Yep. And so we rewatched Space Camp recently, because I've got a 14-year-old who has actually gone to space camp himself.
Does it
and
hold
he's
up?
going to be an astronaut. It's like I've made my mini-me over here. And so he's going to be the first person on Mars. And his timing is about right. If you do the math, he'll be in his sort of mid-30s or so. He could pull it off. So he's done space camp. We watched the movie, and it actually held up all right.
Good.
The only funny thing I found about it, and I just know this because I just rewatched it, is it just suddenly ends. I actually had to Google it because I was like, did we miss the end of the movie? There was a yay, and then they show the shuttle land, and that was boom, the end. There was no wrap up or what happened next. It was just over. And so they just must have ran out of money, I guess. I don't know.
Somebody had said, because we're doing the same thing with our kids, and we're finding the movies that, I forgot about that scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody said something about space camp, but it's been so long I don't remember. Is it language filled or something about it?
It's got some language in it, I think, if I remember correctly.
There might be an S word. I don't remember. I mean, this was 6 months or so we watched this. I don't remember that being a problem. I have many times gotten into the 80s movie and forgotten Steven Spielberg liked to put in a few swear words into all of his movies for whatever
dark stuff in the 80s, man.
There was, I thought we're all going to watch Ghostbusters. This is going to be great. I forgot about the ghost that molests Dan Aykroyd in the middle of the night. totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh my God, what is happening?
Hey guys, look out the window.
Exactly. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get surprised by those. That's all right.
Yeah.
What other ones have you shown to them?
Well, I mean, they're all, when they turn 8, they're allowed to watch Star Wars. And Star Wars was very formative. And so we watched them in the proper order, right? And then we all, when there's a new one out, we all go and we get the 3D and we do the IMAX and we do the Star Wars upright.
Okay.
We've done Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Nice.
We've done The Goonies.
Yes.
We've done, what's obscure? Oh, I showed them a few months ago, Clue. Do you remember Clue?
Oh.
One of my favorites.
Oh my God. That movie did not.
Legs.
You're right. That movie did not hold up as well as I thought it would. But
Yeah.
that, and there's a whole lot of murder. There's lots of murder in a way that I'm like, more people are dead here than I expected.
Right.
Yeah.
What's that?
How old are your kids?
14, 11, and 8.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So I've got a almost 13 and 9. So we're kind of
Okay.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting age to introduce movies because they're either completely into it or like, I don't care at all.
Well, it's funny. They're differently interested in wanting to watch what I watch. Like the 8-year-old, I'll be like, "This is great. You're gonna love it." And 5 minutes in, he's like, "Can I go play Minecraft?"
Yeah.
like this is dumb.
Yeah.
My 14-year-old will sit and watch anything with me. He's like, if Dad says it's good, I'm in. And we sit and watch it together.
Yeah.
The 11-year-old in the middle is sort of hit or miss.
Yeah.
But it's funny, having kids in general, my experience has been there's a lot more nature than nurture. Like they are who they are.
Yeah.
And I'm just convinced like the role of parents is important and all, but like it's sort of marginal. Like they're into what they're into and they love what they love or they're scared of what they're scared of. And you can sort of nudge them, but they're just going to be who they're going to be.
Yeah.
And I sort of thought they came as little blank slates and you could form them and they're largely are who they are.
Yeah, especially the teenage years as we're discovering like, oh yeah, you are your own person.
Yeah, I keep reminding my wife, one, that I was a terrible teenager, so this is revenge. Not that my 14-year-old is terrible, but occasionally he does some, wants to do his own thing sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And two, you sort of want, this is a healthy thing, right? They are supposed to assert some independence.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they end up living in your basement, and no one wants that.
No.
And so this independence thing is actually good, even if it's a pain in the butt sometimes.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's weird the things, like you said, where they're going independently and they're, I like this artist and I like this show and I like this actor and that sort of thing. The one exception to that in our house was the BBC Sherlock. Did you watch that?
Oh, no, we haven't watched that.
Benedict Cumberbatch and what is his
Martin
Freeman? Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
And Andrew Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter, we're a couple episodes in. It's just so well done because the acting is so well done. And we're a couple episodes in and she goes, Benedict Cumberbatch has really nice cheekbones.
Whoa!
Are you? What? How do you know what cheekbones look like?
We're all into our own things, and maybe she's just going to be a cheekbone person. That's all right.
I guess of all the body parts, I'll take her being into that one.
In
That's
fairness,
fine.
he does have
nice cheekbones.
He does have nice cheekbones.
It just...
Yeah, it's a weird pull, but
cheekbones.
Yeah, cheekbones. Yeah.
So this reminds me of a funny story when my oldest was like 7 or so.
Yeah.
He loved fried chicken. And still does, right? Who doesn't love fried chicken? I remember we're walking through Walmart one day in this small town, and he is talking really loud about fried chicken. And he says, Daddy, I really like breasts, but the legs are good too. I like legs and breasts. It's hard to pick which are legs or breasts are better. And he's really loud talking about this. And I'm like, oh my God.
You're just walking going, fried chicken, fried chicken.
Fried chicken, everybody.
You should put that on the Twitter.
Yeah.
Bring that up on the Twitter.
I'd like that. Well, your podcast, this will, you got to make it to minute whatever we're at to get the good story about the legs and the breasts.
Yeah. I'll put it in the description. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Wait for the legs and the breasts come. Yeah.
Stick around for the good stuff. Yeah. Isn't it funny how kids choose the worst possible times to say things like
Oh,
that.
yeah. It's like they've got some sort of ability that they know that it's the worst possible time to do it. And that's when they go, boom. And you're like, oh, boy, buddy, thank you.
Mine was throwing a fit. Of course, it was a Saturday, midday at Costco. And my son might have been 3, 4. He was just throwing a fit. He was tired or hungry or whatever. And we're getting up to the line where, of course, 80,000 people are on a Saturday. He goes, "Don't touch me!" Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
My mom still tells a story about when I was 3 or 4 years old and we were in line, some long line, and I'm bored to tears. And I said really loud, "Mommy, all these people are so old. Look at that guy. He's about to die." So this is family lore ever since.
Yeah.
There is something, though, kids, especially young kids, are just unedited, right? Whatever comes through their mind just comes out their mouth. Yeah. And frankly, as adults, we all learn to self-censor, right? And that's probably healthy and good. I'm not saying we shouldn't self-censor, but there's something pure about just putting it out there in the world. It's sort of it's sort of there's the purity of small kids is good. I think
it is
to be around.
A little scary, but good.
Yeah.
Ben's had some fun experiences with his children.
My kid has a propensity for swear words, so he's we have to kind of. And he probably gets that from his father.
Yeah, where does that come?
My wife is terrible. She swears like a sailor.
She doesn't at all. Mm-mm.
How old, Ben?
He's 6. So
okay, that you're right in the middle of that.
Yeah.
I saw a meme recently, verbally describing a meme is always a bad idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. About remember what's the movie with the different emotions, the Disney movie, and different characters. Yeah, and so they have the memory balls, and it said a toddler when they hear a swear word. Ooh, look, a new core memory. And so, that's the thing they retain is that swear word they heard.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We all remember our first swear word experience, or somebody else's, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm still lucky that the kids are still convinced that you like butt is a swear word.
Butt's
we're still pretty innocent here. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, mine learned them a little earlier than I would have liked. We try not to use them around the house, but my husband has a tendency to name people Jack without the last name. So he'll be driving and be like, "Jack!" Like, "Oh, what's his last name, honey? What's Jack's last name? What do we call that man?"
Wagon.
Yeah, that's not it.
That's right.
That's not it at all.
We were somewhere recently where someone said inappropriately, "Jesus Christ." And I turned to the kids and I said, "Why is that guy asking about cheese and rice?" And now they all think that's the funniest thing they've ever heard in their lives. And the thing I can't tell them is I didn't make it up, right? They all think that I'm brilliant and that I made this up. But lying to your kids is one of the best part about being a parent. When we were in Missouri and they were little, we lived near a nuclear power plant, far enough away that it was safe and all. But you could see it on the horizon and the cooling tower with the steam coming out.
Yeah.
I told all the kids that was a cloud factory. That's where they made the clouds. Which is sort of even true, right? And so they totally for years until I think one of them brought it up at school, and then my wife said, "Okay, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing."
Yeah.
My stepmom used to tell her kids that when they heard the ice cream man playing music, it meant that the truck was out of ice cream. Which I think is pretty smart.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
All that means are out. Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah.
We go to the Jersey Shore every year, and on this where we go, they have those little planes that drag the banners behind them that go down the beach kind of thing. And so when they were little and they couldn't read, they liked these planes a lot, and they would say, "What does that one say?" And I would say, "That one says brush your teeth." Well, what does that one say? That one says listen to your mom and dad. And they would just okay. That makes perfect sense. Yep.
Seems like the kind of thing they'd put on signs. Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. This was great.
Yeah. This was fun.
Thank you.
Ben, Krista, you guys have a great program here, and I'm just honored to be a part of it. I'm glad you called on me.
We have a lot of fun. Well, hopefully we'll get to see you in person sometime one of these days. So.
When we get back to normal life, I'd look forward to that.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you
All
both.
All right. Take care.
All right,
Bye.
Boxland Media. Think big.